In Turkey, it's been a week since protests erupted over the arrest of opposition leader Ekrem İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul, who is charged with corruption and abetting terrorism. That has sparked the biggest mass demonstrations in more than a decade. This despite bans that have extended to coverage, in fact. And for more on this, we can cross now to journalist Evin Barış, Altıntaş, co-director of the Media and Law Studies Association. 7 journalists, including an AFP photojournalist, currently behind bars. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
Well, thank you for having me. Indeed, 7 journalists were detained on the 24th in early morning raids from their homes for covering these protests. 1 was detained actually at the protest, and the other 6 were detained at 6 a.m. early morning raids, including 1. And this is a mixed group of journalists. They are overwhelmingly photojournalists, and which shows that, like as you suggested, there's also bans on coverage, and this is we have 2 world-renowned photojournalists, including Yasin Akgul, AFP's photojournalist. We have photojournalists working for 2 municipalities, and we have a reporter from Now TV, which can be considered a mainstream channel, and they were kept overnight in detention, and they are charged with breaking Turkey's law on protests, 2911, which is used extensively against journalists in Turkey covering events. However, it's almost unheard of that anybody has been arrested over it, and most of the charges, if they turn into cases, actually end in, almost all of them end in acquittals. However, in this case, on the 25th, when they were taken to the courthouse, we are also defending 3 of the journalists, including AFP's Yasin Akgul. Around 11, towards noon, they said all of the journalists will be released. There were lists on the wall. They had their names that on a piece of paper that the police officers had put up there. They were taken with a number of more than 200 other demonstrators, and they were going to be released. But just as they were going to be released, and very abruptly, the prosecutor changed their opinion, and they referred them to court for being put under arrest under 2911, which is the law on demonstrations and public gatherings. And so that is one question: how did that happen? What was the motivation behind this change of heart that happened at the courthouse? This is
what's your explanation for that?
Well, that's obviously this is an answer the Turkish judicial authorities, the ministry, should give, and they owe us that. But it's very interesting, and it creates the appearance of an interference in the process that actually had come to a close. And so it appears to be more than a change of mind, and it's no secret that Turkey's judicial independence in Turkey has been undermined for a long time over the past decade or so.
Now, as you mentioned, Evin, this is nothing new in Turkey. Is it different this time? And when you see the scale, the size of these demonstrations?
This is a good question. So a lot of analysts and a lot of observers and a lot of citizens here believe that this is a new level in terms of Turkey's, the backslide in Turkish democracy. And because this is the first time we're seeing, İmamoğlu, Erdogan's #1 rival, who's won against him actually in Istanbul 3 times, and who was set to win if he could ever be a presidential candidate. So that had not happened before in Turkey. It's unprecedented. And also, appointing these trustees that are appointed by the government to non-Kurdish municipalities is also new. But on the other hand, as you said, there was this is nothing new. Journalists had been have been meeting, police violence and arrests and trials, terrorism charges over their news reports. Since last year's elections, local elections in March, 13 municipalities had been appointing these trustees. So, so time will show if things will worsen or will normalize. But many analysts do see that as a new level.
Have you and the attorneys been able to speak to their clients?
Right. So today they were brought to Metris prison, and they couldn't. Actually, two of our clients are now at Metris prison. There are a lot of lines, but in terms of Yasin Akgul, who was defended by MLSA, he was in good spirits and he had a very high morale. I just wanted to say that yesterday. And there's actually been some good news that we're actually now, again, very abruptly waiting for expecting them to be released, because today, again in the afternoon, the justice minister said they would be looking into the case of the journalists and they would be correcting if a mistake was made. And my understanding is that some back channel dialogue took place with the judicial authorities. And now we also have two other clients, including former AFP photojournalist Bülent Kılıç, who is in prison. And we have our lawyers have filed objections today very swiftly. And I know that the lawyers representing the other four have also submitted objections until 5 p.m. today. And so the justice minister has toned down a little bit. We understand there's been some back channel dialogue, and we're hoping that they might be released soon.
There's been a formal complaint lodged by France. Does foreign pressure matter at this moment in time when Recep Tayyip Erdogan is having this showdown with his most formidable opposition foe?
Right. Is that? Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Does foreign pressure matter at this point in time?
Yeah, this is also, I think this is a very important, not just for France, but from all of Europe. It's an important time to not close eyes to what's going on in Turkey, especially after İmamoğlu's arrest, which many, as I said, deem to be potentially a new level of increasing authoritarianism on this part of the government. And in the past, many right activists here believe that, and I believe they're partially right, that the EU has closed eyes to some very open violations of democratic rights due to the so-called refugee deal, and others expectations from Turkey. And so I think it is a good time for changing that attitude for France and any other country. And I really believe that foreign pressure could help at this time.
Evin Barış, Altıntaş, many thanks for speaking with us from Turkey. Again, you're saying that there's hope that those 7 journalists could be released on Thursday morning.
Thanks for having me.